when I think about the radiology industry as a whole, there were some significant changes over the past 30 years or so. PACS being the first fully digital department back in the 90s, and then very early adoption of speech recognition and like reporting solutions. So much so that they ended up becoming their own thing, unlike general medicine that reads directly into the EHR. I've known radiologists for a while, and there's oftentimes a resistance to change. And I understand why. In my view, radiology is a performance sport. You're, optimizing and tweaking so that you can have, that really optimal delivery. But it feels different right now. Everybody's really, excited and looking for ways to change what they did in the past. Approach from not just like do what we did in the past a little bit better, but completely transform the workflow. Dr. Flanders, from your perspective, why? Like, why is that happening today? What's different about now?
Well, I mean, I don't want to get too philosophical about it or whatever else. I mean, part of it is that I think we're pretty much immersed in technology right now, and everybody's kind of used to it. And even people who are mid-career kind of grew up with technology. As the old person in the room here, I grew up with film and I grew up with transcriptionists, and I was around and instrumental in the transition to filmless and also transition into speech recognition. And you're right, it was very painful for a lot of old timers that were used to doing things a certain way. Part of it, I think, a big part of it also had to do with the fact of just volume. Getting used to something. Do you have enough time to get used to a brand new interface, learning how to do things completely differently than the way you were trained to begin with? These days, it's a lot easier to do because everybody is trained on these technologies. Nobody's going from film to PACS anymore. But I think the other reason why people are so excited, if our volumes were not up 300+% compared to 10 years ago, people might not care as much. But people want to do a really good job and they still want to be happy in their work. And they're really feeling the pressure now. So they're looking to any technology at all that allow them to do their job as well or better. As Dr. Davis pointed out, where their happiness is still important, because we don't want to keep losing radiologists to early retirement because they can't handle it anymore. So I think the environment is very different right now than it was during like when PACS and speech first transitioned. We had a lot more time on our hands to learn that stuff.
Dr. Davis, Joe, anything to add?
Yeah, I think, what Dr. Flanders said is absolutely right. We're immersed in technology in every piece of our day. I mean, look at us right now. We're sitting in a technology platform that wasn't popular 5 years ago, and now we use it every single day. And every day, our radiologists come up to us and they say, my phone does X, Y, and Z. How come our platforms can't do that? And it's because historically in medicine, we've been slower to adopt technology at the pace that outside of healthcare is typically adopted, because you don't have as much regulation and as much control and as much hesitation, because we're dealing with actual patients and actual lives. So there's a balance that you have to have there. But, when somebody who is born in 2000 comes up to us and says, hey, look, my phone does all these cool things, and then I'm stagnated when I get to work, that's hard to face. And so I do think that there is a shift for us to move in that direction a bit more.